Hi everyone, how are you? This video is going to be a good one because it's going to address kind of like one of these unusual questions that I get on the apps. Sometimes, not too often, but sometimes I get a question, how do I write a fundraising proposal? And then I go like, fundraising proposal? Okay, so let's reframe it a little bit. So often when I ask the person, and the conversation goes like this. I ask the person, what do you mean? You know, what kind of organization do you have? What are you raising money for? And then it turns out that actually they just need to raise money. They weren't like really phrasing things well. They weren't certain how to phrase things. So in this video, I'm going to explain actually not just how you can write a fundraising proposal, but how you can kind of what should be going into the literature which you should compile before you seek an investor or fundraising, right? And also, so there's usually I kind of stick to like 7 ways to get money for your business. These are like sort of my I have 7. I used to have 4, but now I have 7 major buckets in which you can approach and raise money. Most of them you do not need any kind of documentation or proposal. And let me just explain to you what they are. Number 1, investors. You will need some documentation about your business. You will need like various things. Number 2, donations through crowdfunding. You don't need a fundraising proposal. Loans, most of the time for businesses who have not started, you need very limited. You don't need anything formal in terms of a fundraising plan proposal. The next thing is grants. Depending on the grant, per grant type, they will require a different kind of documentation, but it's per grant type, and they will specify what's needed. So you don't have to write your proposal before they tell you before you apply, because every grant they have a slightly different set of requirements. The next is, so those are like the financial institution-ish things. The next 3 things are more sort of hustle/creative, right? Because then the 5th thing is obviously you have to raise money from your own revenue. The 6th thing is you can raise money from future clients. Like, you know, if you go to a client and you say, hey, you know, I don't have money to buy the inventory, but could you pay me up front? And then when the product is ready, you'll get it cheaper, or you'll get more quantity or something like that. So that's another way. Obviously, you don't need fundraising proposal there. The last thing is just creative things. Like you can have you can start events. You can do like community things. Like when I was running a website some time ago, it was a hiking website. I did these amazing hikes, and they were really cool, and a lot of people wanted to come, and I was able to charge. So then I was able to put that money towards like my development or whatever. So that's the kind of thing you can do. You can like events are a great way, by the way, to earn income, and they actually can become like a business. Like often you see companies who they sell something, but like you know they struggle with getting enough revenue, but they get a lot of industry attention, and then they start doing conferences, because conferences earn them a lot of money. Because these are events, like most people pay, you know, tickets are kind of expensive, and it's like a one-day thing or a few-day thing when people come, and it makes pretty reasonable money, and they can have, you know, unlimited conferences, right? Like, you know, you can have such an event series every month, or if it's a bigger thing every 6 months or a year. So you can, you know, it's recurring as well, so you can milk that for a while. But as you can see from these 7 different ways, you very rarely need some formal documentation. To recap, you need a fundraising proposal in some kind of loans, only some kind, very like rare, you know, like if really a bank takes you through some steps. And banks usually people end up getting loans from non-banks, because most people who seek loans for businesses are people who have not really started or are just starting, and banks don't really loan to companies at such an early stage. So a bank may not even be an option for you if you're not started or just starting. The next thing is grants, and again, you may or may not even need it. And then what was the other one? The investors. And investors, they're very different. They will never say, phrase things like fundraising proposal, they have a different set of terminology, they have a different way of operating. Everything, all documentation is different. Like they'll add, and it depends on investors. They will ask you for different things. Some investors, they do like a business plan. They want to see, not a long one, but they want to see that you're able to express your entire business model in a pretty short but very insightful and complete sort of document. Some may ask for a lot less, at least in the beginning when you're raising money, because they don't want to spend a lot of time with a company. They just want to briefly skim stuff and get a sense of like, yeah, is this interesting for me or not. So investors are not going to ask for something like a fundraising plan proposal, because it's kind of like, it's almost like, what is that for them? It's not in that, it isn't something that's in that industry. So you see, it's a really rare thing. And if you are a nonprofit and you're seeking fundraising, you know, often your fundraising will also come from different sources. You know, you're going to be applying to these different things. So I almost never see, so in my experience, I have like, on my apps at the point of this taping, there's about 250,000 people who are starting various projects across different countries. And I almost never see someone who says, I want to write a fundraising proposal, actually end up needing that thing. So if you're thinking about a fundraising proposal, maybe kind of, it could be, I don't know, like, but consider going back to the drawing board and thinking about what are the ways that I should raise money, and maybe instead of writing a fundraising plan right away, I should focus on, instead of writing a fundraising proposal right away, I should focus on my overall fundraising plan and get to understand which sources of fundraising are going to be the ones that work for me, and what are the steps to get there. And that depends on your business type, on the company stage type, you know, how far along you are, what kind of revenue you have, and stuff like that. So you see, it is not it's something that is not, it's like a missed term. Usually when somebody asks me that, I kind of know to sort of ask them again, you know, to explain themselves, because then it becomes clear that it isn't something that they're particularly confident in what they actually need. So, whew, there's a mouthful. Yeah, talking to, feels like I'm talking fast. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope this was insightful. I hope if you found this video online and you're searching for a fundraising proposal or something like that, take a look at maybe my other video about how to create a fundraising plan. And really, this was sort of it. I mean, I kind of covered the 7 sort of ways you can get revenue into your business. And I have an elaboration on this in another video. But this is sort of it, you know, see if maybe you actually need something a little bit different. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and of course please check out my mobile apps, and one of the apps actually covers fundraising. But the apps cover business ideas, business planning, marketing, and fundraising, and they're available on iOS, Android, Kindle, Nook, and they're the most helpful mobile apps for planning and starting your business. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.